everyone, it's Lorraine, Xena VSG Warrior Princess here, and this is part 2 of my response video to the REALsherbear's video that she did earlier today on Naked November, bearing her soul, you know, and I know my first video had to do with returning a bunch of products that I had purchased, you know, items from the grocery store, and I wanted to take this opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty about the whole reason why I did all that today. Is because, you know, I went a little crazy before surgery, and then, you know, that first week after surgery. Oh, excuse me. Woo. Pardon me. Excuse my puffy eyes, too. This has all been from, it's been an emotional day for me today. Because, you know, Sherry, you really, I don't know, there was some things that just, I guess that's all I needed was that push to hear, you know, when it comes to lie and deceit, and when we do that to ourselves, and, you know, what that can do to us, you know, and in the long term, and especially with WLSers that are, you know, especially those of us that are pre-op, newbies, any one of us. And, you know, I know in one of my videos, I think I even said, you know, I was gonna have some issues, and that I was gonna need to make sure that I had some counseling so that I can get a handle on that. And the interesting thing is that, you know, some of that happened today, and I want to start off by even saying that, you know, even last night I had trouble sleeping, and I stayed up kind of late. I just kind of really tossed and turned. I had some really funky dreams last night, and a lot of it had to do with a lot of the hurt. It was almost like last night was the beginning, and then watching the REALsherbear's video this morning just unleashed it all. And a lot of that has to do with my emotional components with food, and not being able to use that, you know, as my outlet anymore, is really having to make us face, you know, what really is eating at us. And I had some dreams last night that, you know, I thought I was over. I thought I had given forgiveness to, for myself, and for that person who hurt me physically, emotionally, and abused me. And so I'm making this video, and it's going to be raw. So I'm here to talk about what those things are, and so that you all know you know, what really is behind, you know, me, and what I carry to the table with myself. And, you know, yeah, just because we have this surgery, and, you know, it helps with, you know, the restriction, but, you know, just like Sherry said, yeah, okay, well, we've had part of our stomach removed, but hello, we didn't go and also have a lobotomy. Yeah, I wish part of my brain got taken out with my stomach, the part that, you know, drives us cuckoo, but that's not the case. So, you know, we have to get a handle on those things. So, getting back to, you know, my dream last night, I saw myself with this person who I was involved with in a relationship, and I allowed him to abuse me in a way that was physical abuse and emotional abuse, and to where you know, it made me live in fear, always looking over my shoulder, you know, to if someone was behind me, or, you know, afraid to just get involved with anybody else. My trust, I think at that point was ruined, where, you know, my male relationships go, and even when it came to allowing friends to come into my life, because I was always so afraid that, you know, I don't know, that they would hurt me too, and to me it just wasn't worth it. So I would just, you know, stay to myself. I used to be this mega social butterfly and would go to everything you could possibly think of, you know, just out there, and loved going to parties, events, you know. I was at the other end once upon a time too. So, I mean, this can go back to, gosh, you know, when I was 12, 13, when, you know, when it all started with that whole abandonment issues between my parents' divorce. I mean, I could take it that far back. You know, using comfort foods to soothe the soul, for when here you are, this little girl wanting to feel hugged, and instead you go for a bowl of macaroni and cheese or spaghetti or whatever it is. And, you know, by the time I guess I was 13, maybe 13 or 14, I had been sexually abused, and by a family member. And I just, you know, I carried, and it was, you know, very threatening, and to where, you know, that was hidden, and I had not shared that with anybody in my family up until maybe just even within the last 5 years. So I'm 43 years old now, and that was a long time ago. And you know, I'm sure that's probably the beginning, you know, where this whole shame aspect eats us up and comes in and takes over and tells us that we're a piece of shit and we're not worth anything. You know, the mind just takes over, and those demons just railroad us into thinking that we're not worthy of anything wonderful. And so I'd say that's another, you know, that's component number 2. Always looking into others, you know, trying to be independent, living on my own at a pretty young age. So, you know, making wrong decisions, being naive, not really knowing a whole heck of a lot, finding out the hard way through, you know, life of hard knocks, I guess you could say. Having to, you know, get involved with people in relationships that were abusive. And it's amazing, you know, people always ask you, well, why can't you just leave, you know? And I used to say the same damn thing. Why doesn't that person just leave? You know, why don't you just walk away, you know, walk away from it? And well, you know, it's that caregiver, I guess, that was in me, thinking that, oh, I can help this person. I know it's not that person. It's like an alcoholic. I mean, alcoholism is in my family, you know, my grandfather especially. God, those were some serious summers, let me tell you. You know, where you know that person is diseased, and that's not the real them, the true person that they're showing you, and you've seen that true person at one point, and you know they're in there, and you just want them to come back, you know. And I know that might sound crazy, but you know, but unfortunately all we do is end up being the enabler. So that relationship went sour. It took me probably a good 2 years to finally, I wouldn't even say walk away. It was one of those things where he ended up in prison. You know, and they always say, you know, walk away before you get killed. Well, that day was present, and that's when I truly believed that in the divine spirit, and I knew that a God existed, because he had gotten so mad and was so high from whatever drug, you know, and like I said, I was young. I was probably, what, 22 at the time. Very naive, didn't really know what someone on, you know, drugs was like, and other than just alcohol. So that person, I was dead asleep at night, and they came into the bedroom, and something made them mad, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, you know, I have a gun pointed directly, point blank, at my forehead, and he fired, and I don't know how. That's why I say I'm a believer in God, that's for sure, or something of the divine. It's out there, because that bullet went right into the wall above my head, and so you know, that was a true blessing. But it's these things that, you know, yeah, to this day, don't like to hear balloons pop. You know, I don't like the sight of people carrying guns. I'm always afraid that I have a big fear. And one of these days I'll get over it. You're talking to somebody who used to actually own a gun. I used to own one. And of course, when you live in Texas, everybody owns a gun, right? I used to go to the firing range, and I actually enjoyed it. Wanted to join the FBI when I first started college into forensics medicine. But, you know, it's interesting how things change. So all of these events in my life and these abusive relationships, you know, I mean, there's more to it. But these are the things, you know, that I think at that point, when I was more getting closer to 25, is when I really started to gain the weight. Maybe 27. I think I was about 27. And then I turned around and lost a bunch, you know, that whole yo-yo thing, and thought I was okay. I had dropped like 50 pounds in 2 months, you know, but not in a healthy way. And so, yeah, you know, prior to, in high school, I think I mentioned in some of the comments to Sherry, the Real Sherebear, that I struggled. You know, I had eating disorders, and yeah, I was an exercise fiend. I would exercise, run 5 miles a day, go lift weights, run again, do some sort of cardio twice a day, weight lift every single day. Excuse me. And it was a vicious cycle, and I was a bulimic. I binged and purged, and that's why I say that, you know, it's interesting. Those of us that are fat today, we can look in the mirror and we can see, you know, we don't even like to look at ourselves. You know, we're in such denial about our condition and where we're at, and these are things in the brain that just have to be dealt with. And you know, we can't go to food now. I mean, if we do, what are we doing? We're abusing ourselves again. And it's almost like, you know, it's no different than wanting to commit suicide if you want to go ahead and try to binge eat while you've had surgery. I mean, I look at that as the same way. You know, that might be harsh, and some of you may hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. You know, and I'm no stranger to that, because, you know, during high school and that first year of college, there were times with, you know, bouts of cervical cancer that I was so pissed I was so mad. I felt like, you know, God had taken away my ability to be a woman and have a family. I had to have surgery, had part of my cervix removed, and, you know, had female problems ever since. And I just kind of went through this hate phase, and I, you know, binged and purged during that time, and I just, you know, I just hated my life. I felt like I was useless, you know, and then, but that's, you know, as time went on, I just really learned that, you know, there's more to being a woman than getting married and having kids. I always knew I wanted to be someone, you know, someone important, do good, you know, and give back to society in some way. And, you know, someone asked me, you know, everyone always asks you when you're 10 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer back then, when I was a kid, was I want to be like my Uncle Steve. I want to be a veterinarian so I can make a ton of money so that I can do nothing but volunteer for the rest of my life. Yep. Well, I didn't become a veterinarian. I did study veterinary medicine. I did work in animal hospitals, and I did surgeries and minor surgeries and assisted in some major ones, but never operated solely on my own, but did work in that environment. Missed it, went into corporate America, got out of that, and, you know, I'm a neuromuscular therapist today and have been for, I don't know what, since 2003. So you can do the math. My brain is so tired. I was so emotional earlier today. But I really thought it was important to go ahead and do this follow-up video because I just want everybody to know, you know, I feel like I have lived my whole life. It's just been somebody else's life. You know, it's like, I don't even think I've met. Here I am, 43 years old, and I don't even feel like I've really met the true me. You know, I mean, I've always spent my life trying to be somebody that somebody wants me to be. You know, whether that, you know, and not really wanting to be that. And I just, so, you know, this journey is a huge one for me. I have all these mixed emotions and all these feelings, and, you know, and part of me, it's that whole, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm mad, and I just want to find me. And I want to be happy, and I want real joy. And never have to lie about anything, about who I am and what I feel. I'm sorry. So, guys, everyone, you know, be honest with yourself. You know, because all it's going to do is continue to hurt you and haunt you. And, I mean, and it's not worth it. I mean, it's time to, you know, snap out of it and get real with ourselves. And I appreciate you, Sherry, so much for doing that. And I think that's what I needed to hear to, you know, really, yeah, okay, my first week was great. But, you know, I refused to step on a scale. That scale, I mean, I'm sorry, but the scale is a bitch to me, and I will not, I was on that thing, I lived on that thing for my whole life, and let it dictate, you know, how I was going to be for the day, and I just can't do it. I appreciate everyone that can get on that scale every week, every day. I just can't. And so I won't be doing these every single week weigh-ins. You know, I'm going to be weighing in next week. It'll be my 1 month post-op. You know, you heard my 1 week post-op, and then I'm going to have my 1 month post-op. So every time I go to my surgeon's office is when I'm going to weigh myself. And that's it. So sorry to disappoint you guys, but for me in this journey, I have got to get in tune with me and my true feelings. I don't want my feelings to go up and down and all over the place just because I didn't like what I saw on the scale, number wise. And I have to learn to make good choices and the right choices and not falter, because I'll tell you, you can get cocky because you did so well one week and then you think, oh, well, there's some room for, oh, I can maybe have a little bit of this, or let me try that. Well, the moment we start stepping outside those bounds, I used to think it was great to color outside the lines. Okay, well, right now I have to stay in the lines, in the box. And and I used to always have an excuse, thinking, oh, I could go tomorrow and step outside and get ran over by a bus, and then I'll be pissed because I could have had those french fries, or I could have had that chocolate chip cookie, or whatever. And I'm just not going to do it. You know what? Because I'm not even going to worry about tomorrow, because all I have right now is today. And this is how I'm feeling today. And I can only hope that I get another opportunity to have another new day, to try to find who I am. And I'm looking forward to that. So, but right now, I'm alive right now. And I feel like today I took the first step to being honest with myself and it was kind of humiliating to go to the store and return stuff that most people it would be normal stuff. And they would ask, oh, well, what was wrong with it? Well, first of all, I wasn't going to plan on baking, so that was easy. But, I got to one store and I just felt like, I'm going to tell her. What's wrong with the items? Well, I'm a food addict. And I bought these out of my addiction without even thinking. And they're items that I really don't need, don't want, and I'm here to return them. I think that was the hardest thing to do. And I got to my car and I just felt like I was embarrassed. I felt ashamed, but at the same time I felt like, it's like admitting like you're an alcoholic. I'm no longer in denial. It was hard, but no more hiding, no more lying about anything, and especially lying about the things we eat, but most importantly for me, it's lying about how I feel and who I am. Because I'm a neuromuscular massage therapist, I own my own business, great, but what, I have hobbies, I have things that I enjoy, but I still really have to figure out who I am at the core, and what's going to be the new thing that feeds my soul, because it's not going to be food. It's not going to be food. So, yeah. I've taken up a lot of your time. Sorry about the puffy cry bits. But yeah, I love everybody. And I appreciate all your support, because without you guys, I wouldn't have had this aha moment of being able to really, really, really share my feelings, and I feel comfortable enough to allow myself this vulnerability to do it. And there's been quite a few of you that have done that. Phil, Fat King's Phil. I mean, shoot. this box of tissues. I'm surprised I still have some left. Between his video and Finding Elizabeth, God, you know, lady, I love you. You and Patty, Phil, you know, Sherry, and of course, you know, Sarah, Nerd in Oregon. All you guys, your videos just, when I watch them, I could just feel it, and you know, I would have tears in my eyes, and then I guess Sherry, your video just was the straw that broke the camel's back and sent my floodgates running, because that was it for me. And I was like, okay, you know what, it is time to get real, and it is all about making sure that I am following what I have, what my surgeon's office has given me. And I know we like to ask each other what it is that we do for ourselves, and that's fine, but keep in mind, guys, that, you know, everyone's surgeon is different. Each one of us are different. And so just be cautious, you know, about what you're doing, and because not everyone is the same. So if one food item is okay for one person, it might not be right for the other person. You know, VSGers are different from RNYers when it comes to food and what their intake is and how they have to go about it. And yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And I just want to thank you all so much, and I appreciate all you subscribers, all of you listening. If you have any comments, please put them below. Always love hearing what people's thoughts are. Ooh, excuse me. And yeah, so it's time to get real, and it's time to be honest and stop the lies. Take the mask off. Of course, except for today, it's Halloween. But I thought this was very appropriate to take my mask off for today and try to learn to be me instead of somebody else. Somebody that I don't want to be, that I don't care to be. And who I want to be, I'm going to learn every single day who that person is. I know she's in there, and I know she's dying to come back out. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Bye.